I am coming to you live from Paris, where I am walking down one of the big boulevard streets, the Champs-Élysées, and at the end of the street, if you can, oh, you can't see it because of the newsstand anymore, but at the end, I am coming right up onto the Arc de Triomphe, getting close to sunset time. And it has been a wild day on my first day in Paris, or my first hours in the 36-hour trip in Paris. This morning did a lot of older historic Paris sites, went to the Opera Garnier, and going to go back to the Opera Garnier tomorrow morning when they open for a tour. And a few other things on my list tomorrow, such as the Eiffel Tower. But there's been a lot of walking. I think what we've got in...
A couple,
no, about...
dozen miles.
Probably about 6 miles.
At least.
I would say at least 6 miles. And so probably by the end of tonight, we're going to have about 7 or 8 more miles on our mileage calculator. And yeah, so here we are on the Champs-Élysées, coming up on the Arc de Triomphe. So let me see if I can get a good view of this.
Okay, let's
Cross the street?
Yeah, let's cross the street so we can get like stuck in the middle.
Okay. Oh, crosswalk. Crossing the street. Where are we going to get stuck in the middle?
Right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
So are we taking a selfie with your phone?
We can.
Here we are. Right down the middle of the Champs-Élysées. And then if we look the other way, I'm going this way. Yeah. Look down the other way. Actually, so Stormy, probably one of the only sites that I've ever really wanted to see in Paris is the Opera Garnier. And so I was excited to be able to see the outside of that earlier because the Gaston Leroux novel, Phantom of the Opera, is based on the Opera Garnier, along with the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, Phantom of the Opera. So tomorrow, I'm excited for that, to be able to tour and get to see the inside of that. Probably the highlight of today was we got to visit the, what was the name of it? The Concierge. Yeah, Concierge, which is where the prisoners, the political prisoners during the French Revolution were held right before they were guillotined or when they were going on trial. So that was absolutely amazing. Hopefully we're going to try to make it up to the Arc de Triomphe. There it is again. And we're hopefully going to be able to go up to the top of it and see the Paris sunset from that. And this is actually one of my co-workers at QSI Chengdu. This is Sarah. And so we are spending today and tomorrow in Paris, and then I go off to Munich tomorrow, and then Sarah goes off and does her own thing. She does her own thing in Europe, and then I'll catch up with my mom tomorrow in Munich. So
but part 2 maybe in Prague.
Yeah, part 2 maybe in Prague, because I think we're going to try to catch up together in Prague again. So it's been great. Here's a little bit of more Paris for you. A little quick fun fact. So one of the cool things to do as we've been walking up and down the streets and going through side streets and all of that has been to window shop. And the fun fact is that in French, the phrase that they use for window shopping actually translates to English as window licking. So it's been real funny to laugh about, joking about going and licking a window. So, oh yes, Stormy, I love Prague. Prague is probably one of my favorite cities in Europe.
Yes.
I've been kind of hesitant on Paris, but getting out of kind of the old town and kind of going around between the old town and the newer area has been absolutely amazing, and I'm starting to like Paris a lot more. And I'm excited to see Paris all lit up at night. So, well, without further ado, if we make it up to the top of the Arc de Triomphe, I'll go live again and share some views of that. So, bye. All right, so I've been out. We ended up not being able to go up into the Arc de Triomphe tonight. The line was a bit long, and plus we had had a real long day. And plus both of us had just gotten into Paris 6 o'clock this morning. I'd gotten in about 6 o'clock, and Sarah had gotten in about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And so trying to get together and trying to get into the city was a challenge this morning. And when we got in, we dropped off our bags at our hotel and hit the ground running. But so instead of going up into the Arc de Triomphe, we stopped and we had dinner at a little place right off of the Arc de Triomphe. And ever since then, I got one of these Uber scooters. Let me see if I can get the camera flipped around. See, an Uber scooter. I rented it through Uber for, I think, I just got finished with about an hour-long ride. Went from the Arc de Triomphe down to Notre Dame and kind of around the Latin Quarter and down to the Eiffel Tower and started coming back, which that was probably about an hour. That was, don't know how many miles that was. That was a good number of miles there. And I think the scooter was about 10 euro. So actually a really good deal for being able to explore Paris a little bit, especially kind of help get to know the area a little bit as well. So right now I am actually back in the Latin Quarter, which is on the left bank of the Seine River here in Paris. And let me flip the camera around. Here is Notre Dame. Not lit up like she used to before the fire, but today we actually started here once we walked from the hotel down to Notre Dame. And in the daylight, you can see where the flying buttresses would be. So right in there, they are now supported by wooden beams. So they went in and kind of helped supported those. And you can also see the scaffolding a little bit back here in the back as well. So that is the front of Paris, the front of Notre Dame. And I'm going to pan over to the left, and that is the Palace of Justice. So that is the beginning of, or part of, the Supreme Court complex here in France. And on the other side, there's actually a church, one or two bridges down on the river, that has probably some of the most beautiful stained glass in all of Europe. And right on the other side of that church, which is also on the other side of this, is the concierge where we were earlier for the French Revolution exhibit. So I'll pan back around. I'll keep going to my left. And over here in this area, this white building right here that I just zoomed in on, this is the Latin Quarter in this area. So that white building I just zoomed in on is actually a bookstore called Shakespeare and Company. And Shakespeare and Company started post-World War I. This is not the original, but the original Shakespeare and Company started post-World War I. It was a place for a lot of the American expat writers. They gathered there at Shakespeare and Company. So people like Ernest Hemingway and his contemporaries, I think Alice Toklas was one as well. And then today they have the bookstore down below, used bookstore, and up above they rent out rooms to young writers who come in and get a relatively inexpensive little room or whatnot to stay in, and they're able to work on their writing. So this is a little bit of nightlife of Paris. Some of the things that I've been able to see while scooting around on the scooter has been absolutely amazing. The lights are absolutely beautiful. The Eiffel Tower lit up at night is extremely beautiful. And so here we are back in Paris. And soon I'll be crossing the river to go back to the newer part of the city. I'm going to try to hit the one of the probably the most prestigious neighborhood, where all of the people that live there complain about the ice cream sellers selling ice cream until the wee hours of the morning. So thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you again next time when I go live. All right, I'm back a little bit sooner than I thought I would be, Facebook friends and family. So here I've stopped again along the banks of the Seine River. Let me see if I can scroll in a little bit. In the distance out here is the back of Notre Dame, the back of the original island where Paris was founded. It's kind of hard to see in the distance, but it's right there about where my hand is, if you see some lights. And then if we look back across, so there's the river, it splits, there's the island in the middle, we look across that bridge. Right there is probably the most well-off neighborhood, probably the most expensive rent neighborhood in Paris. That's what I'll be headed to next. So let me pan the camera around. This building is why I stopped, and is why I decided to go live again. So if you've ever seen the Disney movie Ratatouille, this building has a restaurant in it which that movie is based off of. On the top floor, there floor-to-ceiling windows. It's kind of hard to see as well because it's so dark. It's closed today because it's Sunday. But if you would like to dine in this restaurant, I read somewhere earlier today that it would cost you probably about $300 per person just to dine in this restaurant. But you do get amazing views of the city, especially at night, and you do get a picture to take home with you as well. So that is why I stopped here at this restaurant. This is the restaurant and the building that the Disney movie Ratatouille is based on. So I'll catch you later. I'm about to scooter on to the other side of the river into this neighborhood and get some ice cream and see why the ice cream shops are open till 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. All right, catch you later. All right, we are going through the Latin Quarter now. So this is old medieval Paris. If you notice in the street, everything kind of funnels down to a point. And this was originally used as drainage. So back before indoor plumbing, people on the house staff would have to empty the chamber pots, and a lot of times they would just throw it off. And certain times a day you would hear housemaids and house staff just lean out of the window and they'd give their warning. And so this is a little bit of the Latin Quarter. Cafe culture in Paris is huge. Just like in Chengdu, tea house culture is really big. In Paris and really in a lot of cities in Europe, these sidewalk cafes are really big parts of culture. Even great writers and great thinkers and great philosophers that lived here in Paris had their favorite coffee houses, their favorite sidewalk cafes, their favorite places to go. And so this is just a little bit of the Latin Quarter. And yeah, a little bit of Paris at night. Lights, more cafes. Good morning, good night, really, Facebook land. If you're in the U.S., over here in France, it is morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Just scooted over to the Eiffel Tower to see it this morning. This is the first sight of today. It's been a little bit rainy, but the scooters have been doing really good, except for the Uber scooter. Every once in a while, you go from about 20 kilometers per hour all the way down to 8 kilometers per hour. Just got a message that I am now reduced to 8 kilometers per hour once again. So we're going to scoot over to the Eiffel Tower. Not going to go up it, but we're going to look around it, take some pictures out in front, and then enjoy the Rue Cla and have a nice cup of coffee, cafe au lait, a little something to warm up, because it is in the high 40s here and a little wet. So go live again sometime again today. I'll catch you then. Bye. All right, for the last stop on this trip, it is now time for the thing that I believe I have been most excited for since I got here. And unfortunately, I couldn't do it yesterday, so I came back today. So hopefully I can do it today, and this will be the very last thing I do, and then I'll have to run to the hotel, grab my luggage, and head to the airport and get on my flight to Munich. But that is touring the Paris Opera House, or the the Paris Opera House. So probably one of the greatest books of literature by Gaston Leroux is based here at the Paris Opera House, or the Opera Garnier. That book is called The Phantom of the Opera. Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, The Phantom of the Opera, is also based on that book. And that book takes place here in the Paris Opera House. So a few little fun facts about the Opera House is that it actually really is built over a lake. The lake, I believe, was originally used for leveling out the stage. And also, another fun fact for you is that the chandelier actually did fall one time, and that is what inspired Gaston Leroux to write his book, Phantom of the Opera. So behind me right now is the Paris Opera House, and if we look along, or I'm in the back now because the tour that I'm going on to go inside starts in the back. But if I walk around, I'm going to walk around and then I'm going to walk back for the tour, then I can get some close-ups of the facade of the building. So here we go. I'm going to switch the camera around. I believe I read somewhere that when Garnier was originally building the building, or planning the building, he started out estimating that it was going to be like 39 million francs or something in that, and he was told that he had to bring that down to probably, I think, something 20 million francs, and then the Paris board told him that he had to bring that down to 17 million. But in fact, I believe the costs of this magnificent building actually ended up being closer 20-30 million francs at that time. So, and if I got that wrong, I apologize. I'm just going off of what I'm thinking I read in a book yesterday. But if you look along the top up here, they have busts of famous composers, and also along the front are busts of famous composers as well. The Opera Garnier is also surrounded by hotels and different shopping stores. There's a Dyson store over there, and a few in cafes as well. So, as I said yesterday, cafe culture is really big here in France, just like tea house culture is really big in Chengdu. So here's another view of the Opera Garnier. I believe the ticket office is actually back here. So last night they were supposed to have an opera here in the Paris Opera House. It ended up being canceled due to the strikes. So let me see if I can find this sign over here that I saw yesterday. Here we go. As a result of the national and interprofessional strike followed by some of the opera staff, tonight's performance is canceled. Thank you for your understanding. So the strike didn't just affect the public transportation and things like that, but it also has affected the Paris Opera House. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of this live video because I want to go ahead and get in. There's a statue of Charles Garnier, his bust, the designer and planner of the Opera House. But I want to go ahead and I want to get inside here and get this tour done, just so I can be sure that I make that flight to Munich, because I won't be able to get on another one until tomorrow. So here we go. I'll see y'all again later. All right, bye. From the steps of the Paris Opera House, the Opera Garnier, this was really probably one of the only 2 or 3 tours that I have done in my time here. And I will tell you that this tour was worth every bit of it. I did the self-guided audio tour, and it was absolutely worth every bit of it. So this is probably my last time going live here in Paris on Facebook, and Paris has been absolutely amazing. I look forward to getting a chance in the future to coming back and really exploring some of the things that ended up getting left out. But once again, here is the Paris Opera House. So on this lamp behind me is a lyre, and throughout the entire Paris Opera House there are lyres everywhere. A lot of door handles are lyres, and they are absolutely everywhere. So one last shot of the Opera Plaza here with a big Chanel No. 5 billboard and busts of various composers. And the boulevard, the only boulevard in Paris that does not have trees. And I will get a little bit better view of the front facade. There we go. All right, that's the Paris Opera House. Now I'm about to try to call an Uber and head back to the hotel, grab my suitcase, and head to the airport. My flight leaves in 4 hours for Munich. All right, thank you. Bye.